Well, g'day everyone. It's Daniel Sloman here, Director of Explore Careers. I'm thrilled to have on the program today Ian Irving, who is the CEO of the Naval Shipbuilding College. Thanks for joining us today, Ian.
It's a pleasure to be here, Daniel. Thank you.
Look, Ian, there'll be a lot of students out there, career advisors and parents who listen to our podcast series, and they might be thinking to themselves, the Naval Shipbuilding College, who are you? And I guess what role does the Naval Shipbuilding College have in terms of building that pipeline or that future pipeline into the shipbuilding industry?
Well, you're right, Daniel. That's a great question. We're a federal government initiative, and our job really simply is to make sure that all these shipbuilding programs, the $168 billion worth of government's building over the next couple of decades, has got enough workers to make sure that we can construct these ships and submarines.
And I guess looking back at obviously the audience that we deal with is obviously students, and they're all thinking about what they're going to do and what subjects they're choosing and what they're going to do in the future. So I guess taking it back a little bit, obviously you're CEO of obviously a major college and obviously being CEO of major organisations as well. So I guess looking back at it, where you grew up, what school you attended. I know you went to the University of New South Wales and did your Bachelor in Electrical Engineering. But just taking it back a little bit to your journey from that point to obviously being CEO of the college.
Yeah, well, I've been extremely fortunate in my career. I went to high school in Canberra, actually at Melrose High School. You go through there and then you go to a year 11 and 12 college, which at that stage was called Phillip College. And I was always somebody that loved building things, loved science and technology. So I kind of focused on those subjects, decided I wanted to go to university. It was actually Sydney University, and I got an electrical engineering degree at Sydney, and that kind of set me up. I honestly, when I finished university, didn't quite know what I wanted to do, as many people do. You're not quite sure what you want to work in, and I was fortunate enough to start my career on the Collins Submarine Combat System, and that really set me up for this defence career that I've had, and it's been a fantastic ride.
And how important, I think, a lot of students feel that the pressure of, depending on their school and their parents and what they've done, a lot of students do feel the pressure of needing to go to university and thinking, to have a good career, you've got to go through to university in order to have a good career post-university. How important was, I guess, university to you and I guess your career today?
Well, for me, university was the right choice for me. It enabled me to get the skills and the knowledge in electrical engineering, electronic design, that got me into a very sophisticated electronic integration program in naval engineering and combat systems. But that was just my choice. And one of the things at the college here, we've got opportunities for people who are really good with their hands. They want to do trade certificates, right through up to PhDs, in fact, and people who want to do very high-end theory and design. So, whilst I chose to go to university, that's absolutely not necessary for everybody. You really need to find out what you love doing, and then find a course that matches that and a career path that gets you into a job that is really your passion. If I could give anybody any advice, is follow your passion, go with that. Don't listen to people that are pushing you one direction or another. There's plenty of options available.
So students who perhaps maybe want to get into shipbuilding or defence and thinking, sounds like a great industry, something I'm really passionate about, want to get involved in, but I don't want to go to university, that's not a roadblock for them. There's obviously opportunities outside of the university path.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've, the Naval Shipbuilding College has got training and education partners all across the country. We've got 24 partners, both at the TAFE college level and at the university level. So we've got pathways for diploma courses, certificate courses, right through degrees. And so and indeed we've got a service that's available to students, a workforce register at navalshipbuildingcollege.com.au, where they can register. And we've got consultants, employment consultants, who will talk to them about what they want to build in their career and where they should be thinking of going. We'll direct them to courses that are available in a location near them that would get them into this sector.
So what are the different careers? Because, you look at it and you think naval shipbuilding and most students would think, okay, you're out there and you're there to build the ships. But outside of that, what are the different, or the various, career opportunities that are available within the industry that perhaps maybe people or students have no idea are available to them?
Well, Danny, this is one of the great questions I love to have asked, because it's not what you think it is. People think of shipbuilding and all you can see is that big steel hull on the ship or the big black tube that's a submarine. But honestly, most of the jobs are involved in other areas. Yes, we've got to wrap it in some steel to get it on the ocean where it's got to go. But these machines. These ships and submarines are the most complex and sophisticated machines that man's building anywhere on the planet. And so a lot of the jobs are involved, everything from project management to engineering, design engineering, of course, naval architecture, very important for these particular systems, but also fabrication, construction consolidation, but also things like estimating and scheduling and accounting and finance. These jobs involve all of those disciplines, so almost every job family. And the great thing about these roles in naval shipbuilding is they're all involved in advanced manufacturing, what we call the future advanced manufacturing, very technology intensive. So even if you're contemplating a career in welding, for example, it's not the image that you might have of a bunch of guys in singlets on a hot deck welding things together. You're probably going to be operating welding robots. You're probably going to be operating machines to do these roles. So you need to learn about the technology. And each of these job families is fairly highly technology integrated. And I would say the submarine in particular is probably one of the most sophisticated machines man will build anywhere on the planet. And so if you get involved in that program, if you're a project manager or an engineer or a fabricator or a welder, you'll be working at the very top of your trade because of the sophistication of what you're building and the company with which you're working. And so you can take that experience and then you can get a job almost anywhere. And I love to say to people, if you're an engineer or a project manager or any role, in fact, on these programs, you could go to Elon Musk and you could fit into his SpaceX program and you could feel very comfortable and you'd perform really well because of the experience that you've had building our attack class submarine, because it's in fact a more complicated and more sophisticated machine than SpaceX. A lot of people find that mind-blowing, but it actually is on any account.
Wow. Well, there you go. I think probably students are thinking to themselves, and they've heard Elon Musk and they've heard SpaceX and they're hearing the Naval Shipbuilding College and thinking, how does these all two come together? And I think that's extremely exciting. I certainly didn't know that. So very much transferable skills that you can take and then move on to other projects, if you wish to do so.
Absolutely.
So I think from that perspective as well, one of the big things that are coming out of obviously our conversation with obviously other employers, schools, is obviously Corona at the moment, and I guess students looking for stability in terms of the industry. And I think, I saw the news the other day, and it was talking about the Defence Force. I guess recruits this year have gone through the roof because more young people are now being a lot more savvy in terms of the type of industry they want to get involved in, and they can see how the corona can have quite a big effect on particular industries. So stability is one big thing that they're looking for. From a shipbuilding perspective, is that a stable, and is that an industry that young people, if they're looking for stability, they should be looking for?
It really is, and that's really the difference with these set of programs. The Commonwealth, the customer, has announced a continuous shipbuilding program. So we can see work 40 years in the future through these programs. So we're in a continuous build program for the frigates, for the submarines and for the offshore patrol vessels. So if you join this sector, you can see the work out there. It's not stop-start like it once was. And, some people would say historically that's been the case. This is very different. And so what we're saying is that, we're not just offering jobs, we're offering careers. And you can build your career across these programs in a very stable situation. And as you say, we see a lot of concern out there about industries and what's going to be there in the future. This is definitely one where you can build those experiences. You can see the work into the future. You can make a great contribution here. And then if you wish to stay really for your whole career, and to some extent that's what I've done in the defence sector. I started my career on Collins Combat System. I've run a land systems business. I've run an aerospace business. I was managing director and chief executive of an aerospace company, and I've set up my own company. So there's very many opportunities for people joining this sector, and it's a great learning experience, as I said, because of the sophistication and that stability that you can see the government commits to those funds well into the future. Can't see that in many other sectors at all these days.
Absolutely, especially at the moment as well. I think a lot of CEOs are very much in the. I think the comment was we're in survival mode at the moment, and then we'll look to then obviously recover. Where there are industries where they're just they're moving forward at a rapid rate.
Absolutely, and that's absolutely where we are. We are searching for workers. We're we're really looking forward to it. We've got a huge ramp up of new jobs in the coming year, and we're going full steam ahead. There's been no downturn, whatsoever in these programs, and as you say, very different in the rest of the commercial industry.
So I think when we look at education and training, and I think what we really want to do is show that connection between obviously students listening today, hearing from obviously yourself, Ian, thinking, you know what, shipbuilding is something I really want to do, or I'm interested in a particular skill set, and I didn't know those types of opportunities were available in shipbuilding. So when we talk about, I guess, education and training, there's probably a lot of students out there who think when they hear the Naval Shipbuilding College that you actually do the training and educating, but obviously it's your providers. So when you touched on before, Ian, about, for example, students that may be interested in being welders, and they might think of the traditional blue-collar type of, perception of what that looks like. Are they the types of things that students can do with your providers, actually do a welding course, or is that the type of training that you provide or they provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our 24 partners around the country, and I should mention this is a national program too. So whilst the ships and submarines are being consolidated in Western Australia and South Australia, the supply chain spreads out all across the country. So if you're sitting in Townsville, or if you're sitting in the Pilbara, there's jobs in your state and in your region. So yes, our training providers provide training pathways really for each of those job families. So right from the fabrication, the trade certificates, the diplomas, through the design traineeships that we're just starting some design traineeships, through the engineering project management courses, in fact, in all the disciplines. And as I mentioned, our engagement consultants are there to talk to students about how they could engage with those courses. Firstly, identifying what do they want to really pursue, which institution would be right for them, and we have them with connections all over the country in every state and territory of Australia, and that'll allow them to determine their next steps, and it'll get them into a situation where when they've got through that training, they'll then be connected with jobs. So we're building a jobs portal in this workforce register, so that not only can we talk to them about the training that they might need to become employment ready, but we can then connect them directly with the jobs that are available in these fantastic companies, to find these 15,000 workers that we're looking for across the country.
Diversity is a really big part to any organisation and industry, there's probably a lot of female students out there, or parents with young female students and kids and things like that. Might be thinking, naval shipbuilding, defence, that may not be for me. That's a boy sort of role. What type of programs you have in place, or what type of things are you doing at Naval Shipbuilding College to really break down those preconceptions and misconceptions perhaps maybe young female students or Indigenous students may have about what a career in the industry looks like?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've got a really active diversity and inclusion program that we're working with all of the major companies involved in the shipbuilding sector, and we've got a real focus on particularly, as we've mentioned, looking at female engagement and making pathways for female and young women to come into the sector. The shipyard is being designed with that in mind. So it's absolutely designed as a modern, and by the way, it will be the world's most effective and newest shipyard on the planet. It's a pretty exciting place to work. We have absolutely looking at targets for diversity. Many of the roles that we've got actually lend themselves very much to interest from younger females who are looking to get into technology. So they're not necessarily what you might expect instead of a bunch of guys shifting big lumps of steel around. There's design activities, there's estimation, scheduling, all these kind of things that are very gender diverse in terms of accessibility. But we've also got programs to assist young women to get into trades like welding and fabrication and the like, and all of the institutions indeed that we're working with have got active programs to indeed make that very easy and accessible, because as we know historically it's not been so. But that's changed dramatically, and we're actively looking to ensure that we've got an increasing level of female participation. And I'm happy to say that we're above the industry average already. We've got a long way to go. We're not satisfied with where we are, but I would say to anybody who's thinking about their future careers, give us a call. Talk to us about what these jobs are actually like, because I think you'll be surprised I think they'll be surprised at how technologically engaged they are, and the fact that they're very accessible. And indeed, we need great minds, we need great creativity in these roles, and that's something that's found both in males and females.
Age group. So students listen to this. We've got female students based on touching on diversity there, who will be studying STEM at school and interested in technology and engineering, those types of things. So for students and parents out there who are trying to guide their students at the moment, is there a particular age group or a year level that students can actually start picking up this training?
Well, we've got options for trade certificate training, really for young students in year 9 to think about in terms of moving into year 10, 11 and 12. So, it's our program and our workforce register is really gauged at capturing people's attention in that year 9, year 8 bracket, so that then they can engage with us and select those trade training courses. Of course, the university courses start beyond year 12, and so we're looking to engage with those students through their year 11 and 12 period as well. But we are looking to stream people into those trade certificates in that year 10 time frame as well.
Okay, so next, 5 to 10 years, these students will obviously have gone through the training, done the education, then will be entering the industry. So when we talk about entering the industry and they've finished their particular course or training modules or whatever it may be, what then? Where do they go? Are they working for, obviously, defence? Are they working for private business? Where do they end up after they finish their training?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because you don't have to join the Navy to be part of this. There is a misconception that these are defence jobs. They're actually in industry. They're in these fantastic companies like Naval Group and BAE Systems and Lockheed Martin and Saab and Thales and many others, in fact. So you'll be working in these companies, and also our small to medium enterprises in Australia as well. So you'll either be working within a major international defence prime, which is honestly a very exciting place to work, because there's a huge technology engagement, very exciting work, lots of vibrancy, lots of things to learn, or a small to medium enterprise, Australian owned company, where you've got a very nimble, passionate bunch of people working on technology and building components for these platforms. So from the very, very big companies to the very small companies, or a design house or what have you. So working in industry, in what I would suggest is a very mature and sophisticated number of companies that have a lot of really good processes in place to develop your career once you're in the company, because once you start your job, you're still on a learning path, and we're looking at continuous lifelong learning. We're establishing upskilling courses for you, so when you join these companies, you've got opportunities to continue to build your knowledge and experience and career through your working life as well, because that's really what we're looking for. And the great thing about our projects is you'll come into an area that's expanding. And when you get into a sector and a company that's expanding, you tend to rise up with that expansion. It gives you more opportunities than the converse. So again, there's another benefit to kind of getting on board with these programs now, because you'll have the opportunity of expanding your career as those companies and those projects succeed.
Great. And Ian, from your perspective, in the next 5 to 10 years, as I said, these students will have finished their training. They'll be coming into the industry over those next 5 to 10 years, probably the next 5 odd years. So where do you see the industry in terms of where it is today to perhaps maybe projects or exciting things that are coming up over the next few years? Where do you see the industry going?
Well, the industry, we're really developing this whole sector. This is a very exciting place to be, because we're establishing the foundations of what will be a really solid sector for Australia that's able to build, sustain and operate and modify these very sophisticated ships and submarines. It'll enable us to ensure our Navy's got the best assets that they can have to do what they need to do on the ocean and protect our country. And we'll be building an enduring industrial capability for Australia that will be very strong and vibrant. So for me, it's an exciting place to be, because you'll get into these companies as they mature. You'll be a foundation of those companies, and you'll have great opportunities as a result of that. So this is something new. We've had a very stop-start, lumpy history in defence in Australia, but it's a very exciting place to work. I've been so fortunate with my career. And anybody out there who likes building things, who likes technology, defence is great, because you're doing things for the first time. it's always a new challenge. These ships, they're bespoke, one-off designs specifically for Australia, so they haven't been done before. So there's a lot of vibrancy and creativity around that, and you're not just stamping out somebody else's program, you're actually doing something new. And there's something that comes with that, I think, that's really fun and exciting to be part of something new, and you get a great feeling of satisfaction when you see that ship hit the water and it gets launched, or that submarine gets launched, and you've contributed to that, and that's now contributing to our national security, and we're keeping people safe by that product. It's a great feeling to have, it really is.
Well, it's making my job sound boring, that's for sure. Wow, okay. So if I join and I go through the training and do welding, I can be involved in this myself in the next few years. That might be
absolutely, Daniel. Yeah, we've got to call us up.
Absolutely. And so from that point, so as you've touched on before, you got the students, career advisors, parents listening to this and saying, you know what, this is sounding right up my alley, something I really want to get involved in. You mentioned before, you've obviously got career consultants, and again, covering overall ground, but that gives the opportunity for career advised students or parents, they want to find out more information, which road, which partner is best for them. They can give them a call and they'll point them in the right direction.
And absolutely right. So on our website, navalshipbuildingcollege.com.au, we've got a workforce register. If you register on that register, we'll have our consultants contact you. And really, it's just a conversation to understand, where do you want to drive your career? What are the things you like doing? We can talk to you about the options that are available, the career paths that you might consider. And a lot of young people, it's not clear. You don't quite know what you want to do. So our consultants can help you, guide you to identify the courses that might bring you into that employment ready status. And as I said, once you're in that register and you're there and you go through that training and you've completed that, they'll then connect you directly with the jobs, and you'll have the opportunity of talking with those companies, and you'll see the jobs that are available. So it's a very powerful place to be. It costs you nothing to register. You can just sit there. We talk to you at least once a quarter on the phone every quarter. You get a magazine and electronic mail out, so we keep you up to date on what's happening. And it just gives you a perspective on how the opportunities are coming up for when you may wish to avail yourself of that.
Great. Well, I think that's pretty easy, isn't it? You speak to someone, sits down with you, keeps you up to date, sends you the magazine, calls you every quarter, make sure you're on the right track, points you in the right direction. Sounds fantastic to me. So I guess just finishing with that, is there any tips or advice that you would give, Ian, to students who are about to leave school or students that are going into year 10, 11 or 12 next year?
Well, what I would say is, we've got a great country, we've got some tremendous opportunities here. These programs are an exemplar of that. Even if you're not interested in naval shipbuilding, have a think about checking us out, because we're an example of the future of advanced manufacturing and advanced programs. And so we can even help guide you, even if you never end up in shipbuilding. Get on our register, have a chat with our consultants, and they'll help you figure out, what you might want to do. And that may end up bringing you into another technology area eventually. And that's fine as far as we're concerned, because, we want to provide great opportunities for young people. So my advice would be, check this out. There are some unbelievable careers, and it's a great starting point for you. And it'll really set you up for a career here in Australia or indeed internationally once you've been involved with something of this calibre. So very exciting. I've been very blessed by this for over 30 years. I can certainly recommend it to anybody.
Great. Well, look, I think if students had first jumped on the, or career advisors and parents had jumped on the podcast today, they would have maybe been scratching their heads a little bit, and now they're probably walking away with, wow, that's not what I thought this was about. This is not the types of opportunities I thought was available. It's not the type of training and education I thought was on offer. And then really on closing, the fact that there are career consultants that can help students point them in the right direction, I think it covers off on all bases. The Naval Shipbuilding College guys have joined Explore Careers for 2021. So they're a new partner of ours, which we're very, very excited about. So we will be speaking to them through podcast series, online, through our publication, events, webinars, all different types of things to hear from the college, what they're up to, and importantly, what that, I guess, future career can look like for you over, now or over the coming years. So, Ian, we thank you for your time today. It was great to hear from you. And I know the team and I wish you and Naval Shipbuilding College all the very best for the remainder of the year and in the near future.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.